What's up, everybody? We're back. It's me, Richard Donahue, and I'm here with.
Lennox Stuziak.
And today we're going to give you a brief overview on the Super Bowl, and then we're going to talk about the awards, obviously. So, just to start off, what are your immediate reactions from the game last night?
I did not expect that. I really thought the Chiefs were going to win, and they didn't win, which was very nice. I enjoyed it. I don't care that I was wrong. I didn't think Patrick Mahomes, it was possible for him to play that bad, but that happened. Saquon didn't have a very awesome game either. Pretty much this game was kind of just shocking on how everything went.
Yeah. And so I'm pulling it up right here. We actually get the stats now. It's in this weird format, but Patrick Mahomes, 21 for 32, 257, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. Uh, Realistically, this is all it's all stat padded. He
The
had
last,
like
yeah,
awful stats. He
the
had
last
awful
The
stats.
last two touchdowns were against the Eagles backups.
Yeah, and I kind of think they did this like obviously you don't want to it's the Super Bowl, you're going to continue to play, but this is also good for Mahomes where people aren't going to remember how bad he was because they're just going to look at the box score when in reality, oh dude, it was rough.
It was bad.
Rushing, he led the team in rushing, 4 carries, 25 yards. That's kind of surprising.
Awful
Samad
run game.
Yeah, and dude, Samandre P. Ryan didn't hit his one reception. We were just talking about that. Dude, look at this. Like, you got how many carries is this? 7 carries from your running backs. Ooh,
Yeah, it's 7.
that's bad, dude. That's not good at all.
Mhm.
Obviously, you see right here, Worthy really broke out. He had 157 yards, 2 touchdowns. What are your thoughts on that? Because you guys did trade them the pick. I know in the past you've talked about how it doesn't really matter because you guys wouldn't have used him right, which I actually agree with.
It's the exact same take I had before. Worthy would be at home watching the Super Bowl. I'm like with if he was on our team, where Keon or whoever else they would take would be going off. It really is. Keon wasn't used at all, and he got hurt. It wasn't. No one really expected Keon to have a big rookie season anyway.
Mhm.
And I'm not discrediting Worthy, but that one deep touchdown was against the Eagles backups. I will say
Yeah.
that. He still played good. Um, like everyone's just gonna look at it as, oh, the Bills let the Chiefs get Worthy. Why didn't the Bills take Worthy? Everyone will be saying, why did the Bills let the Chiefs get Keon Coleman or whoever else they took? So no matter what, we're not good at drafting early.
Yeah.
That's my takeaway from this.
I mean, when you talk about the Bills draft, I always think about I feel like it's maybe the 2021 draft class. Your first round pick, you draft Kyrie Elam, and then
That
you
was
get
20.
Christian Benford in the sixth.
That was 22.
22. Yeah, that kind of just resembles how the Bills draft. Like they're really good at drafting past round 2 or 3. But I don't even remember the last first round pick they've actually had that like hit because like now we look at the Kincaid pick and that might not even be that great of a pick anymore.
Josh Allen was the last pick that hit. Josh
Yeah.
Allen. Well, it depends. Do you count Ed Oliver as a hit? Me personally, I don't, just for where he was taken. He was taken
No, and
number
wasn't
he
he
was
taken
taken
before Christian Wilkins?
he was taken before Wilkins and Lawrence, Dexter Lawrence.
Yeah,
Or not
I wouldn't consider that a hit. I'd consider that a miss because if you're looking at that position, there's way better options down the board.
yeah. Well, no, Ed Oliver he's like a prospect that Bean and McDermott love. They love their undersized D linemen, which we stop with them.
Mhm.
But Adam was a great prospect. So it just sucks that 2 years later, first round we take Greg Rousseau.
That was a good pick. I
Mm,
consider that he. I think if they could get a real number one, like he would develop into
Miles
a
Garrett.
real
No,
yeah.
when Vaughn was actually like healthy and didn't
Oh
tear his
no.
ACL, people forget Vaughn was really good before he tore his ACL. And Greg was having a great year before that too, because all the pressure was off of him and it was on Vaughn because everyone had to block him, so then Greg could go in. But our second round pick was Boogie Basham. Of that,
Yeah, and you loved Boogie
I
Basham, dude.
did, but he was well.
He's
How can
trash.
you not like a name Boogie?
Yeah.
We did take Spencer Brown in that draft and DeMar Hamlin, but that's about the extent of that draft class being good. Where I think with drafting with the Bills, I mean, really the last good first overall, like that worked out well. I mean, you can say Greg. I'm not going to say Greg. I'm going to say the last like good first round pick was Josh, easily.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
should have this year, but whatever.
I mean, you never know. It's definitely an interesting spot. The Bills at 30, I feel like they need to go D line.
We can talk more about this with Dan Mitchell.
Yeah, we'll get off the topic, but in my eyes, it's D line for sure. They need D line. But let's talk about the Eagles, because dude, 34-0. And that's actually the final score because we're not talking garbage time. You have the Chiefs down 34-0, the team that everyone considered unbeatable. Only Burrow and Brady have beat him. And yeah, it looks like Mahomes is human. So, I mean, what's your immediate reaction to that Spags defense shutting down Saquon Barkley in the run game?
By the way, one thing that real quick. Mahomes actually played his second worst game of his career when they played the Bengals and they won, and the Bengals won. Just like to point that out. But honestly, I'm not too shocked. I was really hoping that Saquon would just go off and have like a bunch of yards and it'd be a great Saquon game. But at the same time, that's what Spags defense is best at, is finding a player and shutting that player down, which they did. And then they got torched in the pass game as their secondary looked really bad.
Yeah, well, I mean, and another thing that I really appreciated was Jalen Hurts rising to the occasion. I mean, he was able to find A.J. Brown on big plays. He was able to find Devontae Smith on big plays. And I think the addition of Saquon Barkley was huge because now that Spags' defense was focusing on Barkley, which obviously you have to, he broke the record for most rushing yards all time. It really let those two playmakers eat. I mean, you have a Heisman Trophy winner and A.J. Brown, who's probably the best, most physical receiver against man coverage, if not like DK Metcalf is more physical, but I'd say A.J. Brown is. It really was hard for them to stop him. And then if you do stop them, you have Dallas Goedert, who is either up the seam, doing a little in route. I mean, he's done checking releases. Like, that offense was ridiculous. I think we really did witness one of the best teams in recent era.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I mean, you look at that team, like, fully on paper, they are unbelievable. And that goes a lot with, honestly, one of the things I thought they were going to have a huge problem with Sirianni was coaching. I thought they were going to get outcoached by Andy Reid. But even, like, if you go back to the offseason, the coaching they've done, I mean, they turned Zach Bond, who was a special teams player last year with the Saints, into an all-pro. I mean, their coaching is excellent this year. And, I mean, that's one of the reasons why Kellen Moore is now going on to be the Saints head coach most likely. I mean, it really just – the way that team was coached was tremendous, which it's great because last year, obviously, they had their two coordinators, Gannon and – what was the other one's name?
I'm not sure.
He's the Colts head coach. You had those two leave, and then you had Brian Johnson and I don't even remember their defensive coordinator's name, but they ended up getting Matt Patricia or something later. And you had awful coaching the entire year, and that's why you went from 10-1 to 11-6 first round exit against the Bucs. I think they did an awesome job at coming back from having such bad coaching. I mean, obviously hiring Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio is huge for that. I mean, Vic Fangio was on the Dolphins last year. How do you feel about that?
That really wasn't that great of a fit for us, though, especially like the type of team Miami is. They're not that physical. Everyone, I feel like last year Miami's team was more of a man coverage team, and he wanted them to do that soft shell zone, which, I mean, it worked half the time, but also We've seen it. I mean, Jalen Ramsey, he's decent in zone. It's Jalen Ramsey, but he's not the best in zone.
Yeah,
Xavier
you guys
Howard.
had man corners, like all your
Yeah, I
corners.
mean, Xavier Howard is like the number, well, not anymore, but he was the number one man corner, him and Tre'Davious White. So, I mean, that scheme, you know what I mean? That scheme really wasn't perfect for us. But like a team like Pittsburgh or Philly, I mean, or the Bears, like when he was there, or Denver, yeah, he still made us a top 10 defense. It wasn't a right fit. But I'm very happy for him. He finally beat Mahomes. I'm pretty sure he was 0-8 against Mahomes, which was, I mean, he finally got over his hump of
They were
beating
talking about
Mahomes.
on the broadcast last night. This might be L ball knowledge from me, but what team did he? What team was he coaching for that lost the Super Bowl? They were talking about the last time he lost the Super Bowl. He like showed the team. Do you know?
So he was on the Bears in 2016 to 2018, the
And
Broncos. He lost the Super Bowl as an Eagles head assistant when they played Mahomes the first time. So that's probably what they were talking
really,
about.
he was on the Eagles again.
Yeah. Yeah, he joined the Eagles right before he signed with the Dolphins.
Mm.
But he wasn't really like I think he was an offensive assistant to dissect the Chiefs' offense as a defensive perspective, and it was something weird. He
That's what
really didn't do a lot.
that's what the Packers had Robert Saleh doing after he got
Mhm.
fired.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, Saleh went back to the 49ers too, which is great for him.
Yeah, which in my hot takes tweet, I actually predicted that they're going to be the number one defense next year. I think
I think
Salah's
it's not a hot take, honestly.
dude,
Saleh's an awesome
he's
defense.
an amazing defensive coordinator. Dude,
Yeah.
he's awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, and also Saquon Barkley went over 100 still. If we're counting receiving, he had 47 receiving yards on top of
57.
50 something rushing.
57,
Yeah.
I think.
Dude, this is crazy though. Everyone was betting it. It was like 0.6x
57.
for a Saquon touchdown. Saquon did not score last night. That is ridiculous.
Did not bet on the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I saw a tweet. I saw a tweet that said all the U.S. needs is to bet $30 trillion on a Saquon Barkley touchdown, and we're out of debt. And if we did that, we would have been cooked. Like we would have been screwed. That's an interesting take. But I mean, everyone thought it was a lock. Saquon has 20 total touchdowns.
I mean, if I were to bet on the Super Bowl, I would have bet Saquon to score 100%.
Oh yeah, and I'm happy that Jalen Hurts got one rushing. Yeah, I believe that he just broke his own record for most rushing touchdowns in a playoff series, like a whole year of playoffs, which he had 10, which is kind of sick. I really like Hurts. Yeah, he had 10 this year because he had 3.
Hey.
Yeah, or something like that. Maybe it was 8. I don't know. It was something really high up there. I know he had 3. He had 1 or 2 yesterday. I don't know. And you know what? You know what he broke yesterday? 72 rushing yards. I'm not sure if that was his final. He had 72 rushing yards when he broke it. The all-time rushing yards record in a game for the Super Bowl was 70 from him 2 years ago. He broke it with 72. I don't know his final yardage, but yeah, he had a great game. Did you expect him to win MVP, or do you think the edge rusher, I believe it was Nolan? Do you think he should have won it, or
it was Josh Sweat?
Josh Sweat. Well, there was another guy that had 2 sacks in the forced fumble. I'm not sure of his
Milton
name.
Williams. He's a D tackle.
Yeah, that guy was a beast. Honestly, as a D tackle, I would have given it to him.
You're allowed to like vote for the Super Bowl MVP. They like promote it every year. I know they don't care about your vote at all. I voted Cooper DeJean personally, but if I was getting for real about it, I would have voted for either Sweat or Milton Williams 100%. Honestly, Jalen Hurts, obviously yesterday, he did a great job. But at the same time, you got to give that to that defense. That was one of the best defenses we've seen in the Super Bowl in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of reminded me of the Bucs game.
Yeah, they sacked Patrick Mahomes 5 times or 6 times in the Super Bowl. And the Chiefs have a pretty good O-line. I mean, they finally just they embarrassed that O-line. But they made Joe Thuney look like a scrub. And Joe Thuney is unreal. I mean, I do think it should have went to a defensive player, but I'm happy Jalen Hurts got it too.
Yeah, I mean, he had damn near 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. He had a good game. Yeah. I think what really impressed me the most is how he handled third downs. He was always picking it up, using his legs. They have design runs for him. A lot
Really
of
good with Josh.
read option with Saquon, which I think if they could use that next year, they're going to be a really dominant offense. Kind of like Lamar Henry. I feel like they didn't really do too much of that this year. Maybe it's because he was injured earlier in the year. I'm not really sure, but I
He only had
did
five rushing touchdowns in the
five
playoffs.
touchdowns this year.
Yeah, it must have been like
Okay.
an all-time record.
Yeah, I don't know. I just saw it on the broadcast. It was something like 10 all. It could have been all time.
It
I'm
might have
not
been.
sure. I saw Mahomes has 7, so
Josh
it
has
probably
seven.
is all time.
Josh has 7.
Josh has 7 too.
Yeah,
He has 7 rushing touchdowns in the playoffs.
Josh. Yeah.
Wow. So with this win, I kind of think Hurts enters the top 4 quarterbacks. I mean, when you talk about not just God gifted ability, but statistics, accolades, overall win percentage. I don't like the argument that he got carried by his defense, which I don't believe he did. I think he stepped up to the occasion and played perfect football against a great Kansas City Chiefs team,
Well, he
a
did throw.
team that literally lost one game this year. Like legit one game. It was a dominant performance.
Yeah, I mean, he did throw a pick. Let's not forget. I mean, top 4, I'd say I feel like my 5 spot all year has been switching out and has been open. I mean, it was probably, if I could think like last week, I probably would have had as Jaden Daniels at the 5, and now I'm going to put Jalen Hurts in there. But as you said, the like passing wise, obviously there's a lot of quarterbacks I'm taking passing wise over Jalen Hurts. But Jalen Hurts is a winner, and
And he's a runner.
and he can run exactly. He's one of the best runners in the league by far. And he'll probably go down as one of the best dual threats of all time.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, him and Josh are head and head for rushing touchdown stuff, and they'll bring up the tush push, but just let him have his moment. But I mean, he's a winner and he's a leader. He leads a group really well. I mean, yeah, that's really the main thing I can think of to say about him is he's a great leader and he wins.
Where I have him currently ranked is 4. Where I think the top 3 is undebatable. Where it's number 1 has to be Patrick Mahomes, which it's really upsetting me that Bills fans are putting Patrick Mahomes at 2 or 3. He's so obviously the best quarterback in the league. It's actually upsetting.
Maybe not skill wise, but another guy who he wins. Like Josh might have better plays and statistics. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, now though, I mean, like if you look previously, and I know we're talking about right now, but still, like Patrick Mahomes has made some of the most incredible throws ever. Like we can't act like he's not
so is Josh. I'm not
top 3 most gifted player. You know what I mean?
I'm not dissing on that take at all, but I feel like not a lot of people talk about the awesome throws that like Josh makes too, and Lamar too. I feel like we only talk about like they always like make out like that highlight of the Joe Burrow throwing it like while he's falling. Like cool play and all. 1, Mahomes did it better. 2, like it was against the Texans, he did it better. And
I don't know. Aiden O'Connell did it pretty damn good, falling backwards, throwing it up.
Exactly. And then Josh and Lamar's 1 touchdown that people talk about like one of the number 1 plays of the league where he drops the snap, stiff arms the guy, goes to the sideline and like throws it up. I don't think that was. I think the Hail Mary that Jaden Daniels threw was definitely the number 1 play of the year because at the same time, looking at that play, Lamar did put the ball in danger's way by throwing that ball. I mean, it was a head top for a touchdown, if I remember it correctly. But and then the one like the Josh Allen on the sideline is incredible. There's that one play from last year I always think about when I think of Josh on the sidelines against the Chiefs. It was 3rd and 5, I think, on the sideline, fading out of bounds, flips it up to Latavius Murray as he's getting pushed back. Unbelievable.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, when you're talking about overall talent, I would also put Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson in the mix. But when I think about complete arm talent, it's got to be for me. My top 3 is Aaron Rodgers, Dan Marino, and just Patrick Mahomes right there. Like those top 3 best arm talents ever. Stafford's up there. I think
100%.
Stafford was a ridiculous.
Stafford's arm is crazy. Drew Brees before he threw like 8 600-yard passing years in a row.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
Drew
mean,
Brees was amazing. He was surgical. I mean,
yeah.
he's kind of like
Brett
he's
Favre,
like dude, he's on his own level actually. Like when you look at the best completion percentage of all time, I think he has the top 3 spots.
yeah.
So I
Brett
mean, yeah.
Favre for arm talent as well. But
Favre, yeah, the one thing that I don't like about Favre as much is how he's a gunslinger.
yeah.
Is like you look at the pick numbers
Mm.
where like
It's
I
hard to
look at
see.
like dude, Aaron Rodgers, the one year where he went like 48 passing touchdowns to 4 picks was the most
Yeah.
ridiculous stat line
Yes.
I think I've ever
Well,
seen.
that was Josh's breakout year.
Dude, oh yeah, that was where he came second in MVP
Yeah, he
race.
came second. Yeah. I feel like
Dude,
Josh has come second like 4 times.
dude, I
But
can't
he's
even.
got one now, so you know.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't even mind that Allen had a worse year than Lamar this year because I think the MVP is just a narrative based award. But I do think by now he should have gotten one.
That's
Which
the other thing.
yeah, I mean
That's the other
I'm
thing.
happy that he finally has one. Um, but logistically, like my overall like just to pair it back into what we were talking about, my overall listing would be Mahomes clear cut number 1. He's on his own level. Number 2 and number 3 are Lamar and Josh. You can interchange them. I
Yeah, I
go
agree.
off of accolades
I agree.
more, so I go Lamar over him. But obviously, there's a very, very good case for Allen over Lamar. And then number 4, it's between Burrow and Hurts, right? So I look at it where Burrow has had one of the best years we've seen just this year,
Mhm.
but you have 1 Super Bowl appearance and 2 comeback players of the year compared to a Super Bowl win, 2 appearances,
And
dude.
Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah, and a Super Bowl MVP. That's what I'm saying. Like when you put accolades into the factor, you have to put Hurts over Burrow. Like, and it's nothing against Burrow. He would have been the MVP if they made a playoff run or had a good record. But you know that's just not how the NFL works. And currently, I have Hurts at 4. If we're talking about pure passers, though, oh, I think Burrow's at least like top 3.
Well, here's the thing with that Super Bowl that Burrow played, does he win Super Bowl MVP if they win that game?
Jamar Chase had a day.
I mean, T. Higgins had a day too.
T. Higgins had a day.
Four
Yeah,
receptions, 100 yards. Yeah, but every time I think about that Super Bowl, I think about that play where T. Higgins goes up and grabs Ramsey by the face mask and shoves him down to make the catch. I still can't believe that wasn't called. Where that's
yeah.
a completely different ballgame if that play if that got called as it should have.
See, but that's not called. And sorry to cut you off, but this is relating to the Super Bowl. Dude, that AJ Brown one where he barely touched McDuffie's face mask. Like, how is that called? But then the play that you're talking about isn't called, where it was way worse.
And then it was just not. It wasn't the best officiated game because there was the one. It was on the Chiefs. They called it like roughing or something. It was awful.
Yeah, I agree with you. I
It's just
agree
the
with you.
roughing is so. It's like the NFL's making it like a gig now to get people to talk about their sport by making their refs awful. Like getting more people to talk about it. It's so stupid. Just get a good ref,
Yeah,
please.
it's super
Gene
weird.
Steratore. Let Gene Steratore come back to roughing.
I think they almost need to use like
Robots.
AI, dude. Or like
Robot refs.
put a chip in each side of the ball, each tip of the ball, put a chip in, and then you can see first downs. Like it's not that hard.
First downs. Oh my god. Josh Allen got the first down.
I mean,
This is our first time filming.
allegedly.
This is our first time filming. If Gene Steratore said he got the first down, he got the first down.
There's just the thing that's so hard about it is there's no like defined proof on if he actually got it or not.
Well, everybody comes out with a different camera angle of it. I mean, it's just the annoying part is the one ref said it was a first, the other didn't, and then they kind of just neglected what the other said. I don't know. Whatever. The game is 2 weeks
It's the
ago.
same with the Worthy catch, where it's like if it was called, they called it short, right? That was the official call. Is they called it short. If there's no evidence, you can't overturn it. They called the Worthy catch a catch. You can't overturn it after you call it a catch unless there's definite proof. Which I mean, that one was kind of sketchy. I still think if both guys have possession, it's in play, and the ball didn't move.
Yeah, but it banged off the turf.
It banged off the turf, but it didn't. It didn't move
Yeah,
off.
no, but
That's
if you
it's
look
so
at
hard.
if you look at like if you go back and look at all year plays where the ball will bang on the turf, every time they call it incomplete. So
Mhm.
why in the biggest moment are you now switching that up?
I don't know. I do disagree with them saying that the refs are rigging games. I don't agree with that at
I
all.
don't
I
agree
don't
with the
think.
NFL rigged either.
Yeah, there's no way. Like it would
It's too
already have
hard to
came
do.
out by now.
It's exactly, and it's too hard to rig the league, honestly.
Hmm.
Like truthfully, it's way too hard to rig it.
Yeah.
You'd have to like put the players in. It'd be so much harder and cost honestly so much more money for the NFL to make it rigged.
Hmm.
Where honestly, I think the most real like thing that could happen, I don't think it's real, but it could be, is the NFL has bad refs just so people will keep talking about like
Hmm.
bad call, but they keep talking and that gives the like NFL more publicity. That's
Hmm.
like the realest thing that I could see.
Yeah, I agree with you. And just to finish off our last segment, I want to talk about the awards because we haven't yet talked about them. Just we'll go brief summaries of the awards. Let's start off with the most important award, Comeback Player of the Year. Joe Burrow wins Comeback Player of the Year. What are your immediate thoughts on that?
I mean, he actually came back from injury, unlike last year, where you give it to Joe Flacco for coming back from playing for the Jets.
You know what I want your opinion on though? How did DeMar still get nominated for Comeback Player of the Year?
Because he should have won last year. I don't know why he didn't win last year. No, imagine you come back from dying on the field and you come back and play football the next season. You died late in the year and you come back late in the season. You don't win Comeback Player of the Year. They give it to Joe Flacco.
Hey,
Really?
I mean, I, comeback DeMar Hamlin. That's our league. So I agree, dude. He should have won the comeback player of the year. I don't know. I kind of find that hard to believe. I know at the time I was trolling and I was saying I think Joe Flacco should win it and everything, but when you actually die on the field, dude, it's
That's
ridiculous.
why we need a most improved player award because Sam Darnold would have won it this year.
Hmm.
And then I don't know who got like second. Maybe it was probably Sam Darnold. But like if I'm being real, who my like second place for that award would have been J.K. Dobbins. He had a great year and he came off
Yeah.
a bunch
Well,
of
that almost could have been like comeback player because, dude, the amount of injuries that guy has had has
exactly.
been absolutely
Exactly.
ridiculous. Yeah.
And like with Burrow still played 10 games last year. He
Hmm.
only missed 7 games. So
I
like
think I think the whole thing with that was just season-ending injury. And then
yeah,
there was a lot of noise in the beginning of the year saying he might not be how he used to be. I
yeah.
remember people were saying he might not have the touch he used to have. And then
Mhm.
he went on and broke a record. It was like most games with 275 plus yards plus 3 touchdowns. Yeah, I don't know.
Throw the ball 50 times a game.
Yeah, dude. I mean, he did have an incredible year though.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah. Obviously, the next one that I would like to do is Coach of the Year.
Kevin
Um,
O'Connell, let's go. He deserved it. He deserved it.
he deserved it. He deserved it for sure. I,
Kevin
I would
O'Connell
have
should
went
have,
with a person like Andy Reid or Dan Campbell though. Like, how does Dan Campbell not have a Coach of the Year yet?
Kevin O'Connell should have won Coach of the Year his first year coaching. I mean, his first year as a coach, the Vikings went 14-3 and 13-4, 14-3, either one I don't remember. And they did lose in the playoffs first round. I think that's probably why I didn't win. But your first year as a coach and you win 13 games,
Hmm.
that's crazy. And this year, they were projected to be a 5-12 team. He turned Sam Darnold around and they went 14-3. You
Yeah.
can't discredit him for that.
No, yeah, I agree. I think he had a great year. I understand why he won it for sure. Uh, the next one that I want to go over is Offensive Player of the Year, Saquon Barkley.
That's all.
It kind of sucks that Jamar Chase wasn't even in the running. He did get a triple crown, but I completely understand why. You know what I mean?
Saquon was one game away from breaking the record where Jamar Chase was like 300, he was like 200 yards off of Cooper Cup's record
Yeah,
Cooper Cup didn't even break the record.
it probably was. I don't want to say the worst Triple Crown ever, but one of the worst.
Yeah, this is just kind of like what he had 1,500, 1,600 maybe.
1,700 yards. He had
1,700.
1,700 yards, 17
I don't think
touchdowns, and
that's one of the.
127 catches.
I don't think that's one of the worst. Then I mean that's.
Well, I believe Sterling Sharp had a better Triple Crown. Cooper Kupp for sure did, and then Jerry Rice had a Triple Crown. So I mean, it's
I
hard.
mean, 17. Jamar Chase 17 touchdowns. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And so I didn't know he had 1,700 yards, 127 receptions. That's a definitely. I wouldn't say that's a bad Triple Crown. It's just okay. Well, he was 200 yards away from the record.
Yeah.
Well, he would have needed for his pace, he would have needed 2 more games to break it. So
yeah. Jefferson had a good year too, 1,600. Obviously, another guy that we didn't talk about was Derrick Henry, had 1,900 at age 30. I mean, absolute dog.
31, yeah.
31, yeah, exactly. I mean, he's doing what Mostert did last year, but I don't see any sign of him falling off for at least 2 more years. So, defensive player of the year.
Dan?
I agree with PS2. I do think it is an Edge award, so I'm happy that a corner finally got it. I think this is the first time since Stephon Gilmore. Am I right on that?
You're right. You're right.
Even though Xavier Howard should have got it with his 10 interceptions 2020. That's here nor that's like me saying Lamar should have gotten it this year. It doesn't really matter what should have or shouldn't have happened. But yeah, what do you think about PS2 winning it?
I mean, I think he was well deserving of it, but I think another guy who was also really deserving of it was Zach Bond. I mean, Zach Bond had, I think it was, I don't know how many TFLs, maybe it was close to 20 TFLs. He led the league in tackles with 170 something. I think he had 2 picks maybe. Zach Bond had an awesome year, and I kind of hate that award is mainly just it's an edge rusher award and the once in a while corner. I want to see more safeties or more safeties and linebackers winning those awards.
Yeah, I agree. Not many linebackers. 2 that come to mind are I guess Ray Lewis won it. Luke Kuechly won it one year. Not many inside linebackers at all.
Yeah.
The next award would probably just be the rookie awards. Both of them, I think, were clear cut.
Jared
Daniels and Jared Verse, yeah.
I mean, there's a big argument for obviously Brock Bowers. I mean, record-setting year.
As a tight end.
Yeah, but just what Jaden Daniels did, they're going to give it to the quarterback over the tight end.
And I think that award, the co-offensive player of the year rookie award, actually has more of a debate than co-MVP this year. Yeah. I think what they did, both of them were spectacular.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Bowers wasn't the reason they were winning games because, I mean, obviously there's a lot more than a tight end you need to win games. But the most important award, the Walter Payton Man of the Year award, Eric Armstead, congratulations on winning it.
Yep, congrats.
Great guy.
I mean, the Jim Brown award, I predicted Bijan. I predicted Bijan in the beginning of the year. I'd say, honestly, I would almost give it to Jahmyr Gibbs or Derrick Henry because I'm not going to give it to Saquon. He already got something. Jahmyr Gibbs had a sneaky 20 touchdown season this year. So, and he splits time with David Montgomery. He had an awesome year.
Yeah, I'm going back in my notes to see who I had as that award. NFL award. Oh my god. These award predictions are already awful. You want me to read mine out?
Yeah.
MVP, Kirk Cousins. Bro. I remember I went on that one. I went on that
Falcons
about Kirk Cousins being a dog. I didn't want to pick Josh Allen because I always pick Josh Allen.
Dude, the 1 year he wins MVP, you don't pick him.
I know. I'm offensive player of the year. I had Puka. Honestly, Puka could have if he didn't get hurt, but Saquon was a beast. Defense player of the year, I had Josh Allen.
Oh.
I don't even think he was close. Offensive player of the year, I had Marv. Yikes. Defense player of the year, Cooper DeJean. He was in the running. Coach of the year, Sean McVay. he might have been in the running too. Comeback player of the year, Kirk Cousins. And the Jim Brown Award, I also had Bijan Robinson.
Yeah.
I remember that one time we filmed that one episode where we talked about like our Super Bowl predictions.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to pick the Bills. I remember my Super Bowl was like the Rams and the Browns or something awful like that.
Are you serious?
I don't know why I got on the Browns high horse for a day.
I think
You had the Packers and the Texans.
Was it Packers Texans?
Yeah.
I remember I did in one episode, I said that the Eagles might be contenders. And for some reason, I don't know why we didn't predict that Saquon would have instantly elevated it. Maybe because of coaching.
You know, we've grown a lot since then.
Yeah.
Me being on I can't believe I was that high on the Cleveland Browns. But.
Dude, I can't believe that you said that you would avoid Saquon in fantasy.
Yeah, and who actually had him in fantasy and who didn't?
Well, in that league, dude, I was like players that are going up on my roster. I was like Saquon Bark. You know what? He was like the only hit though. I had Debo on there, bust. I had Gus Edwards on there, bust. I had Ezekiel Elliott, bust. I had Saquon, who was a hit, and
but
then
you didn't draft him.
Someone else. I don't remember who it was. Maybe like a quarterback. I want to say Jordan Love or something. I don't know. Jordan Love was alright.
In like 3 of my 6 leagues.
Yeah, because you kept auto drafting.
Yeah, obviously I didn't listen to. Yeah, because I was at work every time we'd have a draft.
Lastly, MVP.
Josh Allen.
I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Finally, you guys get an MVP since 1991.
He's the most valuable player. I mean, straight up. I saw some. I purposely did not go on Twitter for 2 or 3 days after that because I was not about to listen to all the Ravens fans complain because I don't want to listen to them. I opened Twitter. I think it was yesterday. First tweet I see is, if we're talking about the real MVP, we should be talking about Tua. And I immediately closed the app. I wasn't reading anymore.
I actually responded to that one and I said yes, but no.
Yeah, I saw that and I just swiped right. I'm like, nope.
I do think that's the correct answer though. Is yes, but no. Like, is he probably
He's
one
valuable?
Of the most,
yeah, but like,
is he one of the most valuable players in the league to their team? Yes. Is he the most valuable player at all in the league? No. He played 11 games too.
Yeah. Also, like if you look at if you were to put Josh Allen on the Cleveland Browns and Tua on the Cleveland Browns, who wins more games? Josh, easily.
Yeah, well, I don't think Tua in the Browns would be very good because that's a cold weather team. So, well, okay, but actually, I don't know. He's not that bad in the cold weather. It's
let me think of a sunny team that's also bad.
The Jags.
Yeah, all right. Jags, who does better, Josh Allen or Tua?
Well, I think Josh Allen would, but also that's not really a fair debate because Josh Allen's like one of the better players in the league. Yeah, okay. I would say
that would be my response to that guy's tweet.
I'd say like Tua and Jordan Love is pretty fair. I'd say Tua could probably outperform, but I don't know. And Jordan Love's also a dog.
I don't think Jordan Love's that good, but my Josh Jacobs take, it did hit though. I said Josh Jacobs would be one of the best backs, and I told Dan Mitchell that. If I remember, I'll actually mention that to him tomorrow.
Oh yeah, I have him ranked 5th right now. He's like his 3rd tier back, but also that's because 1st tier Saquon and Derrick Henry, 2nd tier Gibbs, Bijan, 3rd tier I'd put him, I'd put Achane, I'd put Cook, I'd put.
If you were about to mention Cook, I was going to get.
Yeah, that's kind of the tier of guys that I have around that area.
Let's just put respect to my boy Josh Jacobs, 2020, the first ever Jim Brown Award winner, actually, 2022.
Absolute dog. Yeah, and then obviously I think Allen statistically was the 3rd best quarterback in the league, but I do agree where he probably was the most valuable player to his team. I think the Bills would have won 4 games without him.
I mean, you look at the team that we had. I mean, Mitch Trubisky or Mike White. Mike White, by the way, was probably one of the worst quarterbacks I've ever seen.
And I told you that when you guys signed them. I mean, like,
I thought he wasn't. I'm like, yeah, it's Mike White. He played good for the Browns or the Jets a few years ago. And then Mike White was god awful for the Bills. I'm like,
Dude,
okay.
he made one good play for the Dolphins, and he had like a 60-yard touchdown to Robbie Chosen against the Broncos
Chosen one.
when we put up 70. Like that was his only good play ever.
Yeah, he managed on 4 in the Patriots game. He overthrew and underthrew Keon 4 plays in a row.
Terrible,
How
terrible,
Keon's
terrible.
like 6'3" or 6'4" too.
Yeah,
Awful.
that's very upsetting.
Yeah.
Well, Turf Talk, we're back. We have a very exciting week this week. I'll tell you it, even though you should be following the Twitter. Tomorrow at 4 p.m., Dan Mitchell. The next day at 4 p.m., Nakia Cody. He is a Pittsburgh Steelers defensive back, and not current, but he has picks in his former years, so absolute dog. Thursday, we are shaping up for that to be the OJ McDuffie day. And then sometime over the weekend, we're going to have Dougley Durong. He's coming back on. Very excited for all of those guests. It's going to be awesome.
Yep.
It's going to be great. So we got Steelers, 2 Dolphins, even though OJ is kind of just like our guy now. He's coming on for the 4th time. And then we have Dan Mitchell, who, mad respect to him. I mean, Roundtable Sports is doing an amazing job.
Great, yeah.
Yeah. So like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.